Welcome back. David and I have resurrected, and we are back to report on the 2 weeks of General Hospital we have not covered. I mean, we lost one bad guy, rest in peace, Cyrus. And now we've got Madam Wu back and Sidwell, and Drew looks like he's gearing up to be the next villain in line. So stay tuned to the General Hospital Snarkcast because we got a lot to catch up on. Well, David, it's been a while since we've chatted with the folks. How are you feeling?
Well, first of all, happy belated birthday.
And to you.
I think we both spent it in bed, but
We did.
hey,
Yes,
wish we had more to report than that. But no, we were just in bed.
we were in bed. Not even together. We were just in bed.
Exactly. Nobody to walk in on us. Nobody to catch us in a lie. Nobody has to pretend that somebody else is the father.
Anyway, we're back, and hopefully we're trying to set a record to neither one of us coughing or sneezing during this recording. So we'll see how that goes. Well,
Yeah.
it's been an interesting 2 weeks, and I would say we're now back in the doldrums that we were in after the Sam thing, which is okay, we put Cyrus to bed, kind of. We're still dealing with that, right? Because we have no body, and so they're kind of gearing up other stories right now. So there isn't a lot of woo and oh and that kind of thing because we're at the beginning of things.
No, and it's a shame because we could have been in the middle of a juicy murder mystery. Once again, GH drops the ball. Like, why does it have to be this? Because to me, I don't know about you, Joss joining the WSB, and if that was Jack's intention all along, makes zero sense to me.
I think that's exactly what they were telegraphing. I know it doesn't make sense, but I was reading the comments over the last week of people on the page, and people are either, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? Josh will be the worst WSB agent in history, to, hey, this could be fun. And I tend to be in this camp. I think this could be fun. Yeah, the girl is a hot mess. But this could be fun because I trust Eden as an actor. She's so good. She's so grounded. She knows what she's doing. So whatever happens, at least it'll be well done.
She'll sell it. Probably, I was thinking about this morning as I was watching last night's episode. One of the best recasts in a long time, even though we were all like, at first. But hey, got to give it up to Chris McKenna.
I agree.
I feel like he's made Jack Brennan his own. Yeah, we're going to have memories of the old Jack, and he's there, but I think Chris is doing a pretty good job.
I agree with you. And you know that I, above all other people, was ready to, stand in the cliffs and look out and decide whether I should keep going, kind of a thing. He isn't Charles Measure. But at this point, I don't expect him to be. And I actually really love the way he interacts with Joss. I know it's not a dad relationship, but it's hey, I can be a mentor and show you the skills that I think you have. And I enjoy this. I am looking forward to seeing where this is going. I'm just going to be honest.
Also too, he's my character of the week just for his face off with Jenz. And sort of like, okay, there is somebody in Port Charles Jenz is intimidated by. Now, we don't know how much he knows about Brennan or if he's going to now look into his past, but I loved that little face-off. One sentence and boom. So
I will finish what I started in Africa, and this time it will be a bomb. I loved it. Yes, it was very good. And I do love Sidwell. And you guys, you do know the cool little thing that ADA Turner, that new beautiful ADA, is married to Sidwell in real life.
Actually, I think she's been on for a while because she's been on in earlier trials. She's been on. It's one of those characters like she's been on, but now all of a sudden like she's in the spotlight. And you're like, oh, is that a new character? Or have we seen her before? Like, what's the story? No, she's been around and just they're now giving her things to do, which is great.
It is great. We need more attorneys on the thing. I mean, we can't just have Marty and Molly and maybe Alexis and Diane now and then. We need to have other people involved. And it makes perfect sense to me that ADA Turner, whatever her first name is, Pretty Woman Turner, uh,
She has one. Yeah.
that she would be hell bent on getting Jason for something because he's been the pariah of Port Charles for decades. So of course that would be her MO. I have no problem with that.
Now, GH, just don't avoid the mistake you have always made in the past. Do not have the ADA fall in love with Jason.
Oh my gosh. Oh, was
Like,
that
like
awful? Oh,
all these DAs that were gonna get Sonny,
and Margot, remember Margot?
all those attorneys oh,
Oh,
and I'm thinking of the other one that he had the affair with. Don't test my memory this morning, but
no, I was going to say you're doing better than I am. I'm looking forward to seeing how this whole Jason things. I mean, okay, so Jack Brennan has the Cyrus body problem figured out. He's got that locked down.
yeah,
Everybody's running around having a nervous breakdown that Jason's going to be this and Joss is going to be that and this and that. No, no, Jack's like, "Hey, peace out. There's no body. They're never going to find a body. We're good." And of course, but it enabled us to have that wonderful showdown in the PCPD room, whatever that room is, with Drew and Jason.
yeah.
We saw that coming a mile away. It was still really amazing to hear Drew go, no, I don't think he was there. You know, when you say you got an alibi, you kind of better expect that your alibi will actually confirm what you're hoping.
Maybe Jason was thinking, well, he's not gonna lie about that. Well,
We also know that in Port Charles, the cameras are used to verify things and everything. But it's so interesting to me, and many of our snarkies have commented that the cameras seem to be facing things that are unimportant. They're never facing the things that you need to see. I'm sorry, he's a freaking congressman. He would have a security system. There would be cameras. That is just a dumb, but that's been taken care of. It's a past plot now. We don't need to worry about that.
the
Hmm?
other dumb thing is, and they did it full force last week into this week. It's why is Chase all of a sudden gung ho on these ideas? Because plot, they change his character to accommodate the plot. It's like all of a sudden he's got to get that out. I don't know who Chase is anymore,
No,
other than the Brooklyn pleaser.
no, and I have a feeling it's going to get worse before it gets better. That he's going to react badly to the whole Dante is the father thing, and it's going to be this whole stupid thing. I am going to cough now.
I win the bet. You can see it coming a mile away on this show when they want to accommodate the plot, how they just manipulate the character to fit the plot. And it's so wrong.
It's
It's
bass
so not what
backwards. Well, look what they've done with Willow. Who's Willow? That woman is so checked out and so manipulated, and they need to lean into that instead of trying to make her appear okay. They need to lean into the crazy, I think.
remember the days when Willow was a confident, assertive young teacher?
That lasted about 4 weeks. And then
Well,
we had victim Willow forever.
I think her best pairing was with Chase. When she and Chase were together, I felt like they were a young couple in love. They had all the nice little details of like they had their little wine tasting club and they would always get
Well,
together at all
and
that
the
stuff.
naivete of the both of them worked in that situation, right?
Yeah, I guess
Because
that's
we
yeah.
have little flaky Willow and we had young, impressionable Chase. That made sense. But this Drew and Willow pairing has predator written all over it. They've stopped short of using that term, but that may
Yeah.
come at some point.
People think we're the Carly haters. We are
Oh
not.
no.
We just don't think Carly needs to be in every plot on the show. But I love Carly when she goes after somebody and she's in the right. Like in this case, going after Drew in the police station.
I agree with you. Carly, when she has a bone to pick and it's the right bone, she's like laser surgery. She's a beautiful thing to behold. It's when she goes bat crap crazy over things that aren't real or that she's made up in her head or
Or
that
being
she's
Sonny.
inserted herself into everything. It's a wonder she doesn't pop out of people's kitchens all over the town, you know?
She'd be that type in the old time commercials, you know. I can't get my floor shiny. Here I am. I'll help you with that. Yeah.
Well, this was the week, though, that Sonny was in everybody's business. He had to visit with Laura. He had to go to the hospital. He had to hear about Lucky seeing dead people.
We had to reconfirm that he and Laura are good again. I thought his ticker was going to go because he kept sort of clutching himself during the Laura Jordan.
I don't think we're allowed to say he was clutching himself. We can't use that term.
It's sort of like, you know, like I've got indigestion.
Yes, he was big on the hand over the chest, pledging allegiance to his ticker. Yes, indeed.
Right. And then I thought, oh my God, he's going to drive Laura to the hospital. They're going to crash on that one road that everybody crashes on.
Why is Sonny even driving at this point? Oh my gosh.
You know, Jack Brennan's my character of the week. Who was yours?
My character of the week is the return of the sassy Madame Wu. I love me some Selina. Let me tell you, she's bad news. We know she's bad news, but that woman, man, there is something about the way she makes an entrance when she popped out of that elevator with her hip cocked and her leg off to the side and her hand on her hip and that fake fur coat. I'm like, oh yeah, she's back. I love
that was the best scene of the week for me with her and Brad in the surf cafe when he gave her that permission because I was like, oh my God, that's a good plot twist.
It is, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Good Mama Snark is like, oh, he threw Portia under the bus. That was not a nice thing to do. And evil Mama Snark is like, so I don't know. We'll see how this.
Well, to me, that was good soap. That's what a good soap does. Plant those seeds, because then you know Selina's going to come back with that at some point, hopefully, and yeah, it'll be great.
And of course, it's going to mess with Brad and Lucas's relationship, but Miami's still coming. I hope we get Miami scenes.
Does Miami have palm trees?
No. Yeah, right. But I want like a bar scene where Lucas and
a tiki bar. Yeah, gotcha. Well, it is a convention. Actors go wild. So
exactly. Let's talk about the bad guy situation in Port Charles right now, because we have developing things, right? We've got Cyrus is gone, so he's not murdering anybody anymore. Great. That's fantastic. I prefer bad guys who don't murder and are more into manipulation and the twisting of the screw kind of a thing, which
I say the Adam Chandlers and the Palmer Cortlands, or in GH's case, the Edward Quartermains.
Exactly. So what we've got here is Drew he's been on this slow decline into evilness, right? He's about to get his evil cape and his evil mask, and he will be fully evil any minute now, I hope. On the other hand, they may just keep him kind of this weirdly gray character who annoys everyone. I don't know. They need to commit one way or the other.
I don't really consider him a villain so much as just he's an unlikable character. You don't have that much on soaps. Everybody's got to, have a fan base. And yes, Cameron Matheson, the actor, has a fan base, but you very rarely see just plain unlikable characters, which is why you're doing your good Mama Snark, evil Mama Snark. That's kind of why I'm on the fence with him, because it's like, I love that they're doing this. They're just making him an unlikable asshole. But at the same time, it is annoying. And it's like, we want the comeuppance.
GH knows how to do annoying characters better than anyone I know. I mean, we could list hundreds of them, right? And currently on the show, we have Portia as an annoying character. We have Lulu as an annoying character. Not intentionally, but they are writing her as mega annoying right now. Think about Lisa Niles in the past, or Nurse Amy Driscoll. These are just people who are meant to be a pebble in our shoe. Portia, she's going to get her comeuppance here eventually for being an annoying and unlikable. I mean, she's weird. She flip-flops into this weird Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, and I don't even know. But I'm excited that we're moving forward with the Cody, Brad, Selina, that story that I hope they don't just repeat where we were before. I hope they insert some other interesting things. For example, I'd love to see Sidwell and Wu team up with their poker playing nonsense and
Would
kind of
make
get some stuff going. Let's get a whole syndicate situation over here. That would be fun. And give Sonny something to do besides clutch his pearls. His upper pearls, not his lower pearls.
and talk about his territory. So yeah, we've got Sidwell, we've got Brennan to a certain extent. You mentioned Drew. We don't know where Valentine is.
Obviously, we have Lulu to remind us like a cuckoo clock every 10 days that she's looking for Charlotte. Never mind that we haven't seen a scene with her and Rocco for months.
Yeah,
But
they did have that one scene where she was feeling guilty, but then there was like, yeah, no follow up
well,
to
she
that.
took care of it. You know, she's not guilty anymore.
Same
Well,
thing with Danny. Why aren't we seeing Danny? You know, they just did that wonderful interview with those two actors, and now it's like, I want to see more of them. And they were teasing in that interview that there was some good stuff coming up. When? I mean,
we haven't seen Scout either since Sam died.
and,
So,
and that was my question of the week. Was her name Scout Quartermain before? I don't remember. Or was it or was it Scout Kane, or was it I mean, I thought at one point Danny was a McCall. So I don't know when they switched it to Danny Morgan. So that's another one I'm confused about. Jordan Watt, who is our resident Snark expert, he'll be on the case, I'm
he
sure.
is our official walking wiki, as they say. Well,
Yes.
speaking of soaps, I had the pleasure of starting the new soap on CBS this week, Beyond the Gates. And I just want to take a second and say, starting a new soap is a little hard on the old IQ because you don't know who anybody is. And but let me tell you, they hit the ground running. We had slaps in the first episode. We've got affairs, we've got shoe sex. It's great. I'm co-snarking with our friend Edward Anderson, who is a snarker and a patron on the other page. He's going to handle the snark for the next couple of weeks, and I'm just going to make character bios to figure out who everybody is and family groups and stuff because this is a tricky thing for old mama. But I think this soap has great potential. It's interesting to note the difference between a CBS soap and an ABC soap.
And what is
Just
that in your mind?
in my mind, it's the way they end the scenes. It's a very interesting, in General Hospital, we get a lot of the looks,
Yeah.
and they pause and then they cut and they go to the next scene. At CBS, the scene ends naturally and then it fades to black. It's a
Mm.
very different energy. It's really interesting. I hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah,
But
CBS suits are always very conservative, and because Procter and Gamble is the sponsor, they decided to get back into the soap business after all these years. There was a definite look to all those Procter and Gamble shows. Now, what I'm curious, I have not watched it yet. I will occasionally snark it, but I have not begun. I have not even watched the preview week, so I'm way behind on that. Just caught up on Days of Our Lives, so that'll probably be my weekend assignment. But what's going to be interesting for me is since it is a let's just call it a black soap, mostly black characters, but it's written. The head writer is a black writer, and Michelle Valjean was a very celebrated writer on General Hospital for many, many years. And since she has left, and I think this is part of the current problem with GH, the black characters on GH just sort of fall flat. Nobody knows how to write them. And this is why I am not invested in Kai and Trina. I'm not invested in Portia and Curtis. I'm invested in Curtis because he's in other plots, but I'm not invested in the black couples on this show.
volunteering to snark Beyond the Gates as a white woman, I thought I'm going to tread carefully because this is not my culture. I honor the culture. I celebrate the culture, but it's not me, right? I'm not, I wouldn't know how to write a soap about Chinese people or Korean people because that's not my culture. So I'm going to tread really carefully. And I do appreciate the people who have followed from General Hospital Snark over to the Snark Beyond the Gates because they're making really really good comments, and they're being very, how do I say, very understanding of the difference between the two cultures. And yes, we are being shown on Beyond the Gates, we're being shown a black, very celebrity recognized couple, someone who has been very successful, but we're also going to see the other side of that as well. And so
And
that's
we did have a post this week. Somebody did ask the question, are black people snarking this show? And so I put in the comments, and I'll say it here, if any black person wants to help snark and join our snark team, get in touch, because we would love to have you and your point of view.
absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
And I will say this, Edward, he's calling himself Snarked, which is very clever. Ed, right? Snark Ed.
Snark Ed.
He was like, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. I said, well, remember, David and I have been doing this for 12 years. You kind of you get practice, right? You are snarking for the very first time. And not only that, it's a soap. We have no history. We don't know what the heck is going on. I mean, this is prime graduate level snarking that he's doing. So I just want to give him props for jumping in the deep end, as it were.
And it's an hour soap. So, not most of the shows that we know and have loved over the years started out as a half-hour show, which is very manageable. Half-hour show might have 20 characters at most. You're talking about an hour show where, you got to get introduced to probably 30 plus some odd actors, get the history in the exposition, figure out who's related to who. For the people that always complain about, they always say people's names too much, or they always say like association is like, my sister always says it. Well, this is why they do it, because it's very hard.
Could they wear name tags? Name tags would help, please. With a little colored dot indicating which family they belong to.
They should start every new soap at like a convention. Yeah, or they go on Family Feud. Remember those days when they had the soap stars on Family Feud? That was great.
We are old.
Episode.
We are so old. If you want to come over to that page and join in, I'm posting pictures and bio information on all the cast so we can figure out who's who, because Mama's brain is scrambled at this point, but it's really good. I'm enjoying.
And there's a lot of actors too. There's a lot of new, because they film in the Atlanta area. So there's a lot of local actors that they put on the show. So, it's one thing, everybody knows Tamara Tooney, and loves her. And so like, you're going to get her character right away. And, Clifton Davis, my gosh, he goes back decades.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to know them. But yeah, some of the other characters just looking at the page, I'm like, who's that? I don't know that actor. So yeah, it takes a while. Thank God we got Katie McLean and John Lindstrom on the show.
Yeah, we haven't seen him yet, but we'll at least recognize them.
When they come on, we'll get it. We'll pay attention to their characters. Yeah, and a couple of people were asking this week. Wally Kurth does both Days of Our Lives and General Hospital. Maybe John Lindstrom will do the same. Probably not, because Wally Kurth is recurring on both GH and Days. John Lindstrom signed a contract.
Okay, so Joey Armstrong is going to be a big character. Okay, well, that's interesting.
So it's probably bye-bye GH, whether they write him off or not. I don't know, Laura's on the majority of the time by herself anyway. So,
right. And frankly, if they had him show up once every 4 months, it would be enough, right? We could do that. Well, before we end today, we still need to do text messages from Wicked Stepmother, our favorite thing. She didn't text me a whole lot about General Hospital this week, although she did make a comment the week before that Jason going to Sam's grave and chatting with her was so woo-woo. And she says, Jason is the least woo-woo person on the show. Jason talking to dead people just didn't feel real to her. But she did mention that she watched Susan Lucci on The View last week, and she loves Susan Lucci, and I know you do too. And she is a force to be reckoned with. That she may be tiny, but she is very, very powerful. And so she just had to say how much she enjoyed watching Susan Lucci and how much she misses her on soaps and All My Children. So
Well,
that's from Wicked Stepmother.
Wicked Stepmother. Tracy did mention to Jason that he has changed.
Yeah,
So maybe
true.
he's becoming a little woo-woo.
A little
And
woo-woo.
yes, Susan Lucci is currently appearing in Joy Behar's off-Broadway show. I don't know how long she's in the show, but I think she just started this week. So I'm sure it'll be a couple weeks she'll be in the show. It's one of those shows where they rotate out the celebrities. So every couple weeks there's a batch of new celebrities. Quite common for a lot of shows. But
See, this is what fun people in New York do, not in LA. David, do you have a soap recommendation this week?
I do. While being sick in bed, I decided, David, you don't have to just watch TV. You wanted to read more books this year. Start reading. So, a book I started last year, I finished. I'm so proud of myself. And that book was
Ryan's Hope.
Ryan's Hope book. It's the history of Ryan's Hope. And even if you've never watched this show, I have the cover off. I always take the covers off. Even if you've never watched this show, it is so juicy because you really see what happens behind the scenes. Now, I read every soap opera book I can get my hands on, and a lot of them are very dry and clear cut. Agnes Nixon's bio was kind of boring because you always know you're going to have to go through the early years, and then when you get to the stuff you want to read about, like the creation of One Life to Live and All My Children, she's writing the book, so it's from her point of view. So you don't get the full story necessarily. They sometimes leave the good bits out. So you pick up a book like Ryan's Hope, and it's not only a history of the show, it goes through and it tells you, this is really great, year by year, what the storylines were.
Oh, that's helpful.
A lot of times I'd be reading this and I'm in the year 1983. Well, let's see what was going on in 1983. Let's see how bad that actor was. Let's see why they fired this person. Let's see why they truncated that plot. And I would go to YouTube and find those Ryan's Hope episodes. It was great. It was like a great trip down memory lane. But the big interesting fact I found out about in this book was Agnes Nixon is the one who killed Ryan's Hope. She threw her weight around in the mid 80s because her new soap, Loving, was not doing well in the 11:30 time slot. She wanted Ryan's Hope's time slot. She got her way. Ryan's Hope moved to noon, got less clearance because a lot of markets would show news at noon, and the ratings dropped. And it was just a matter. It took them 4 years to take Ryan's Hope off the air, but that was the death knell. So
you gotta love a woman who plays the long game. And moving forward, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, share this on Facebook. And if you're interested in what I do when I'm not doing this, feel free to watch Mama Snark Behind the Scenes, your old lady podcast, because I'm an old lady. I'm even older now. And so are you. You're not an old lady, but you are older.
They've gotten a lot older just during this podcast, let me tell you.
Seriously, and everyone listening is like, I feel really old now. All right. Have a great week, everyone. We will be back next Friday with all the scoop. Have a great week.